Good afternoon, stamping friends. This is Karen Decker here in Castle Rock, Colorado. Welcome to another crafting event here in the lovely state of Colorado. Today we're going to make a peekaboo card, and this is a card that I learned several different directions, and I chose Dawn Griffith. Has a nice video that I followed, and I of course did a few of Karen's changes. She never keeps everything exactly the same, but basically followed what she taught me on doing this peekaboo card. So we're going to make this card, and welcome. If you've not met me before, thank you for joining me. I've been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for going on 13 years, and I love our Stampin' Up! Products and how they match, and we have ribbons that match the papers that match the cardstock, and I've just been thrilled to be a part of Stampin' Up! For so many years, and I hope that you would like to create and follow along as we look at the Hydrangea Hill Designer Series paper that is in our new mini catalog. Gorgeous sheets of paper. Let me shift back down here. And this is our hydrangea paper. This is one that has a perfectly blue sky top. Here's a hydrangea. Here's another one I did. Very similar to Dawn Griffith's, except I wanted to put a heart here. So I used one of these solid pieces that had lots and lots of big hydrangeas, just gorgeous. And then I made another one, which I wanted to see about decorating the top and put with all my heart here. And then I put one of our curvies from the Curvy Celebrations dies that we have. And I put the purple. You can't tell it probably at all. Let me see if we can get it close. Can you see that I've got purple ribbon underneath that to bring in a kind of a purple tone? It's kind of fun. And then I have the purple ribbon here as well. This paper is in our June, what we call the JJ mini catalog, January to June mini catalog that will go through the end of June 30th. So if you love this paper like we all did, then you're going to want to be able to get that. I'm looking here. Here's our mini catalog. If you need a catalog, please let me know and I will get it for you. Whoa. So on page 19 of our JJ Mini, we have this gorgeous, gorgeous set of papers. 3/8" sheer ribbon that just is gorgeous to try and form a bow, and the pastel pearls. These two do carry over into our new annual catalog starting May 4th, so I'm pretty thrilled about that. If you'd like to join me, my house will be open for an open house catalog launch on Tuesday, May 4th from, I hadn't set a time yet, 9:30 in the morning till basically 7 at night. We'll close down the house, so you need to be here by 6, and we'll have door prizes, and we'll have a make and take, and you'll do a new in-color sheet with all our beautiful new in-colors, and make a bookmark, which is kind of our tradition. We always make an in-color bookmark. So you can see those colors through many projects that you do through the next year. So join me May 4th, and we'll have a good time at the catalog launch here in Castle Rock, Colorado. Now the directions for this card will be on my blog. My blog is stampalosopher.com. Think of a philosopher who stamps. So Stamp a Losopher. And I shortened it to SAL, then looked it up going, let's make sure that SAL is not a weird acronym that means something. Well, actually in Spanish it means wit. And I thought, oh, this is good. And it means salt. There's two different definitions. And I thought, ooh, I really, really like that. So therein our little salt shaker named Sal was created. And my tagline is bringing a pinch of creativity to spice up your crafting world. And if you go to my blog at stampilosopher.com, there's a recipe book with all the different cards that I've done. And you can click on those cards, and then it will take you to the blog post, which has all the written directions and pictures for those cards. So that makes it nice to have that recipe box with the posts. Then there's a catalog. You can go to the catalogs at stampilosopher.com back to 2014, I think, is when I started the blog. And so I saved all those catalogs. So if you're going, I have a stamp set from years and years ago, and they used to have something I loved in the catalog, well, I've got the catalogs there you can go back to. Or the current ones, if you want to you're on vacation and you want to look at the new catalog, it's there at stampilosopher.com under the catalogs tab. There's a catalog tab that talks about Stampilosopher and how it all came to be, like what I just shared with you. There's a bake sale where I will be updating it with, as the new catalog comes out, to make room for new stuff, I have to sell some of the old stuff. So I will be selling stuff there on the bake sale tab. And then there's a join me tab. If you'd like to join my team of Karen crafters, click on that tab and it'll take you to a place where you can join and become a part of the team. So thank you for joining me for a little bit of advertisement there. Let's get started with a peekaboo card, which, what do we mean peekaboo? Well, when you open this, on the front it says, of all the blossoms in life's garden, friendship is the most fragrant. You open it and voila! Oh, this was cut out from this piece of paper and then it goes back in just beautifully. And it says, so lucky to have a friend like you. These stamp sets come from Grace's Garden. Grace's Garden is retiring. So if you don't have this, we have used this many times, and it's a gorgeous set. And then Heartfelt is the other one that says, so lucky to have a friend like you. So these are the two that I've used for those greetings. And I've stamped in, this is in Blackberry Bliss because of the darker purple, because when I tried to stamp with the Gorgeous Grape, it was just too light. However, this was too dark if I stamped it with Blackberry Bliss, I thought, to blend nicely. So I stamped it with the Gorgeous Grape. So lucky to have a friend like you. And if you've got other things that you want to say that are much longer, let me show you some of these other. So here's another one I stamped with the heart I showed you earlier. And see, this is one where the pink is stamped with Gorgeous Grape, and it just doesn't have that depth that I prefer. So this one, when you open it up, I didn't stamp anything here because I wanted this up here. I thank you for all the kindness in yours. So with all my heart, I thank you for all the kindness in yours. And you see that this is the same designer series paper, except we've scored it here and made it the full inside. However, I bought four packs of Hydrangea Hill and found that it was not going to make, I was taking into account the inside and forgot to take into account the outside. So even though I was an accountant at one time, I would have needed another couple packs. So in our card, we're just going to have Whisper White on the one side with that pretty hydrangea with the blue sky on the inside. But then we've got a couple of Blackberry Bliss or Gorgeous Grape butterflies that I've punched out to put up there. And the butterflies, this is the butterfly punch that's in our current catalog, and it is also retiring. So if you like these little bitty butterflies like this, I suggest you look at getting this punch because it sure makes a nice fast way to have a quick little butterfly. So let's look at our kits. Now, for those of you who don't have kits, I do have directions here that you can write down what I've done. And the directions will be on stampilosopher.com in probably tomorrow. They're not there right now. because I wait until I get all this done and then I post the video with the directions so it's all in one place. So we start with a base of Whisper White. Now, if you came on this morning and you thought that I advertised that I was going to do this at 9:30 this morning, you were right. And I apologize so much that I had trouble with my technology, more me than the technology, I'm sure. Could not get the overhead camera to link to the recording. So we went out and we did a Zoom and did this card on Zoom. Then I went out on the break and I rebooted the computer, went back, and everything works just fine. So I'm loving eCam. I just don't know why I had a problem this morning, but it's gone and we're here. So let's go. So in your kit, you have a piece of Whisper White, and it is already cut out for you. And this cutout uses the cutout that is the oval that is part of the Stitched Shapes framelits. The Stitched Shapes framelits have ovals and circles and squares. So this is the second largest oval, but then you have circles and you have squares. One of my most used sets for the last couple years, and it too is retiring. So Stitched Shapes framelits goes away. And here we have, this is the second to the largest stitch shape oval that I used to cut these out. Okay, so in your kit, you have a white piece that has two cutouts. You have a small DSP, and you have a large DSP. So you see how this one is much larger than the other one. And this is a square. This white piece is a square. It is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and it's scored at 4 1/4. So you have a 4 1/4 square there for the base. The front Hydrangea Hill Designer Series paper, you'll notice, is much longer than that. So your square stops here, but your front hydrangea paper goes longer. Purposely, that's how you make our mechanism work. So the front is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And the inside one is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So that's the inside. This is the outside. Well, that's fine, but we need a few more pieces here to make this work. So what we've got, so those are our designer series paper. Oh, one comment I made to myself here. When you've got a designer series paper like this, 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, you want to fit exactly. And it looks like my cut was not exact. We may need to cut that again just a little bit. Because of this, when you've got a score line here, sometimes it makes it a little hard for it to fit on the edge nicely here and on the score line, and it doesn't fold. So when I cut this, I did 4 1/4, and then over here on here I put minus a hair. So this side on the horizontal is 4 1/4 this way minus that hair, which is like a 32nd or something, just enough that you can close this without a problem. Okay. So my front, oh, I bet I know why. I'm going, we really worked on getting these exact. I had my Whisper White upside down. That's why my ovals were not fitting. Be sure, turn it upside the other way. If you, so see what I did? I had it here and I'm going, well, this is off 1/2 inch. This is not good. I'm going to have to recut that. Oh, no, I don't. I just have to turn this upside down. And I knew that should fit, because we wound up where we cut the outside and the white at the same time. And I have all these extra pieces where this was cut at the same time. So if you see that with your kits, be sure and turn it upside down. Okay, well, that makes me feel a little better. And basically with the, we'll see those cuts in just a minute, but I'm going to tell you just because we're talking about it. This one comes down a 1/2 inch from the top to the top edge of that framelit. But down here, it's 3/4. So this is 3/4 of an inch down here. And then it is from the edge of the framelit to the right-hand side, we've got another 1/2 inch, or 2 1/4 to the left-hand side. So that's a nice 2 1/4. I prefer looking at that left-hand side. So this is the left. Let's look at the 2 1/4 to the left-hand side, not the right-hand side. And it's of your framelit. Okay. So make sure you've got, it's not perfectly centered, because your eye, supposedly you want everything a little bit higher for your eye's sake. So you want the 3/4 here and the 1/2 here. Okay, so we'll turn that so that it's correct for our pieces. Phew! That's the last thing we needed today, is to have those be a problem. So now you ladies that have kits, you aren't going to have to cut this. But those of you who do not, let's go into that right quick. We're going to okay, I'm getting out of order here myself. So let's go back to the mechanism itself. So there's those pieces. We're going to set them aside. We're going to look at the mechanism. The mechanism, you have 2 pieces of Highland heather, 4 1/4 by 5 3/4, and this is scored at 5 1/2 to give you a little tiny 1/2 inch right there. And we're going to use the bone folder and make that a nice firm, because with the mechanism you don't want to have it pulling on the glue so that it doesn't work well. And the same thing here. So now here's the second piece, Highland heather, and this one is 4 1/4 by 3. Only this time we're scoring it on the short way at 2 3/4. Okay, we score that. Burnish it well. Okay. So we've got our 2 pieces for our mechanism. And let's talk about cutting. So what we did was we cut our front piece that we now, get the front piece here, designer series paper, the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and we use sticky note here at the edge to put that on the white without gluing it down. Then we laid on our stitched oval framelit and cut through both the front and the white. Okay. Then on the inside, very critical, we did the same thing. We took our smaller hydrangea heel piece and put it on here, because this is where, if you can see, some of them cut a little different, but see, this pink is exactly the pink that's on that Hydrangea Hill paper. So when they open it up, it goes into the full piece of hydrangeas, the full look of the hydrangeas there at the bottom. Okay, so we put that on there, and this one is critical. So the other two pieces we put away to use for gift tags and things, but this one goes in the kit. So in your kit, you have the one that goes on the inside of the Hydrangea Hill. Okay. So now we've got all our circles cut. We cut 2 on the outside with the large piece of designer series paper. Then we cut this on the inside with this piece. Okay. The next step, we're going to add our mechanism. So we've got our front now. So now here I've put for your Highland Heather. We've scored it, leaving that little tab. And now we're going to put tear and tape on that tab. And the tear and tape turns out to be just a little bit longer. So let it hang out over the right-hand side so that you can take your finger and you can make that tear and tape go over itself. As in, let me show you here. So we get our tear and tape. Let's try to make it not stick out the bottom. But see how it does? It sticks out just a little on that right-hand side, but we're going to burnish this real good. You want that tear and tape to stick hard to your cardstock. And now we're going to pull off and I don't know if I can show you this. Do you see? Let me see if I can get it on the black. Maybe you can see it. But there's just a little, there you go. You see that there's a little bit of that tear and tape? Take those fingers and just roll that back onto itself, because the mechanism can't work if you've got glue catching in different places. And you want a good glue, so you know you've got some of the 1/8. There's little half of tear and tape. We could have cut it in half, but I didn't want to cut it in half. I wanted to make sure we've got a really good glue there. Okay. So it's rolled back on itself. And now this is the long piece is going to go on the back of the inside white piece. Now I did turn that just so I can see it. Probably get my head in the... Maybe it'd be this way. If I did it this way, would you be able to see better? Probably. Oh, I feel just a little bit of the tear and tape there. So we're going to take this. If any of you need the erasers, we used to sell them and we don't anymore. I think they ran out of room in the catalog. They tried to make our catalog so that it was easy in all the different England, or whether it's France or Germany, that we can ship them to you, and it doesn't cost a fortune. There's a certain weight limit. So they've cut down on the number of pages in our catalog to try and get it so that we can ship them easily. So now I don't have any on that edge. And this is the long piece on the back of the white piece. Okay. And just because Karen needs to double check, make sure I didn't turn the white upside down again. No, I didn't. Phew. Okay. Okay. So now let's take a pencil and let's lightly pencil where this is actually going to be the front of the greeting. So we pencil that in. Before we get a lot more attached to it, let's go ahead. This is, of all the blossoms in life's garden, friendship is the most fragrant. Okay, and for this one, because we're doing purple on purple, we're going to use Blackberry Bliss. I love purple. Uh-oh, that was really rude. Sorry. Get the head right there. I think I need to stand up. That way I don't have the head in, but I can see my pencil mark. Okay, of all the blossoms in life's garden, friendship is the most fragrant. So that is your front. Oops. Be careful, that whisper white's not super thick. And if you want to put a little heart down there or a little squiggly, that'd look really nice too. Okay, so that piece is done. So now let's take our other piece, which, not the short piece, we want this is going to go in here. We can do that in a minute. This is the long designer series paper for the front and the short mechanism. And this mechanism is going to go right on here. Yes, we want that to fold inside into, not out to the other side. Had to turn that over. Okay, so let's get our tear and tape. Once again, and I'm leaving the tear and tape, that excess. I want it to go up above where I can just flip it over onto itself so that we don't have excess. I know it's tear and tape, but you know, there's just something about having a nice square line. Okay, and let's burnish, burnish, burnish. Okay, and then pull this off. Oops, almost forgot to flip it over onto itself. Flip it over onto itself before you glue it to the card. And then just kind of run your hand there and make sure you're not feeling any of your glue out of your tape outside. Okay, then you've got this small piece, tab, front. Once again, burnish, 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 because this is a mechanism. And now we can glue. Oh wait, let's do one thing before we start gluing those fronts. Let's take this is the piece that's going to go in the inside that was cut out of that perfectly. You see how that stem matches exactly? We're going to take that, and now we're going to take the gorgeous grape, which is right here. I'm sure it's just right here. I just love even having all the hydrangea pictures on the desktop. This says, so lucky to have a friend like you. Oh, here we go in the camera again. Hold that down, make sure all the ink transfers to the paper, and voila. Sorry, that was me drinking water. I should make myself drink 3 ounces every time I say voila. I don't even know if I say it right. Okay, so now we've got this glued to here. Now we're going to glue this down to here. Critical step. This goes on the inside. Very critical. But more critical, the inside is the outside. We're going to use this so we can shift if we need to. Do love my Tombow. And the fact that it gives me a chance to wiggle things. I like wiggle room. Turning it upside down so I can place my other hand on the white part and not get it in glue, I hope. There we go. And see, it wiggled. I could wiggle it right down to where it was perfectly lined up on the bottom. And then we're going to make sure all that glue is nice and down. And you're going, but that doesn't say what it's supposed to. It's supposed to say the inside. Well, that's because it's the other mechanism. So now we're going to take this and do the same thing. And this was the critical part I was going to tell you. Do not put glue on the back of your designer series paper. Put your glue on your Whisper White. I found when I press into my Tombow, it makes it clog up faster. If I just not touch the paper and press, it comes out much better. Unless we're running out, which could be. You don't want to glob it because then you have little bubbles on your designer series paper. But you definitely want it in each of those corners. Do any of you use the other end of this? This is an end I have never ever used to, I suppose you could just use it and spread the glue. I haven't used it so there wouldn't be any glue down in it, but it would get clear to the edge. Learn something new. Try something new every day. You just never know what might work better than what you've been doing for years and years. Okay, and now we're going to take that front piece, make sure you're not going to get your hydrangea, the purple, into this. Again, I'd better stand up or I'll have my head in it. And we've got wiggle room. So we can put it here. Sure we can. Interesting, spreading it gave me less wiggle room because it was a less of the there we go. And while we're here, let's erase this. So we're almost done. And now, here's your mechanism. So when we open the card like this, this comes in. So once again, let's make a little mark there. And let's open her back up. Whoops, wrong end. Someone I wanted there. Now what was it? Where was I at? I was here, here, here. We open it up. And there's where we want it. So then we're going to, it looks like we're on the inside. It kind of It's like, what? What are we doing? And now we want, again, we're going to glue that directly down because we don't want those mechanisms to get in the way of what we're doing. When we want to open it, we don't want it to catch on the edges or it won't open and your recipient will go, this was an interesting card. What was it supposed to do? I may use that more often. Oop, but I got a little into the holes and then it'll come out on the front side, so that's not good. Or you have the stitching. You don't want to get glue there because then it comes right out the front. Okay, we're going to count to 10, so this becomes very much like a sticky note instead of, it'll stick down nicely, still give us a little wiggle room, but you should not gush out. Okay, so now I look at my oval. Okay, let's see if it works. Of all the blossoms in life's garden, friendship is the most fragrant. And voila, there's our beautiful pink hydrangea. That could have gone just a little more that way. And it's just still a little wet. The other thing you can do is you can open it up like this and put your glue right there and then put it straight down through the opening. And then you wouldn't have what I just had where my pencil mark didn't really give me the perfect, I probably tilted my pencil. So lucky to have a friend like you. So that's your card. And you're going to want to stamp your name on the back before you get it all embellished up, because once you embellish it, it's very hard to stamp on embellishments. And this is a stamp I got from Stampin' Up, a set of Stampin' Up ones so that we could always have the Stampin' Up logo down there. They don't sell it currently, but I just loved it. I had one with my name, and I like this better with being able to actually sign it. So that's what I do for the back. The front's done. Do we have lines that we need to erase? No, it went perfectly over it. I'm not sure why. I needed to hold my pencil straighter, I think. So again, the little flap goes in, the big flap goes to the back, and there is your card. I keep covering this up. That was the second card we did at 11 o'clock when I finally got eCam to work. So there's your mechanism. You've seen the second piece, how it's attached, and you saw how we assembled it, gluing the front designer series paper to the Whisper White. Same thing on the inside, being careful to put your glue on the white. The ovals, we saw how the oval was 2 1/4 from the right-hand side. And that's from here to the edge. From this edge to this edge is 2 1/4. From this edge to this, the top edge is 1/2. And from this edge to the bottom is just short of 3/4. And we're ready to embellish. This morning I was a wreck after the eCam wouldn't work, and we were starting with this card, and then I had an echo, and the lighting wasn't right. And I'm going, I've done this before. What in the world is going on? But there was an update, I guess, and I went out before the second card, rebooted the computer, and then when I went back to eCam, everything was great. I did have to adjust and turn off the sound on my, I got a little glue there. The sound on the camera I had turned off at the camera, but for whatever reason, I also needed to get rid of the echo there that we had there at the first. I had to turn it off at eCam, so that was kind of interesting. I'll have to remember that in the future. So to embellish, we've got a little piece of gorgeous grape ribbon, and we are going to tie it just in a knot. A bow would just probably be too much, I think, with all the other, but certainly if you've got a different ribbon, I probably didn't give you enough for a bow if you wanted a bow. And I always have to work with mine and push them and pull them and redo them, and because I like them to be just right. All right, so let's get this little guy right here, and I'm going to put him on with a glue dot, which I'm sure they're here, right here, somewhere. How about like right to the left of the thing, right in front of me is the glue dots. And I'm looking on the floor and everywhere else. Good gracious. Okay, so I'm going to put this little ribbon. Do I want it going up or down? Let's do up. I did the other one down. Let's do up. And then I always have a pair of scissors that's only used for ribbon, because my mother taught me you never use your good scissors for paper from, she was a seamstress, fabulous seamstress. And that's one thing she made sure, you do not use cloth scissors for paper. It dulls them. So I keep one of my sets of scissors right here to stay nice and sharp. And if you try to cut with these that have cut with paper forever, oh my goodness, I can't even cut a piece of twine with these hardly. Kind of crazy. Okay, so then we've got in your kit, I've got 3 little of our beautiful pearls, pearlescent pearls, and they do carry over in our big catalog. We're going to put a pearl here and a pearl here and one more. Somewhere on the bottom, this morning one of my pearls bounced off onto the floor. And I thought, what's a big pink pearl? I'll find it. No, I did not. And then these are the little in-color butterflies. And I thought our purple hydrangea, it might actually show better on the green. Let's put it on the green this time, instead of having it disappear into the hydrangea. And then, as I said before, this is our punch, and I've used this little bitty one with some gorgeous grape. And then I'm going to make his body. I'm going to put my fingernail on either side of his body and bend the wings. And then take my glue dot. Always with your glue dot, put your embellishment to the glue dot, or use your quicker, clicker, picker, poker, upper. And then we can decide, do we want him here? Do we want him close to the words? What do you think? I think I like him closer to the words and the opening, because people are going to be messing with this area as they try to open it. Now we're going to fluff up his wings a little bit more here, now that we've got him on there with a glue dot. And then we're going to take our other butterfly and do the same thing on the inside. We're going to fold him, find the best side. There's always a best side of every punch and die cut, where when it goes down, it leaves a nice rounded corner. So there is our butterfly. So we put the other one close to the words. Let's put this one on this side of the words. We want him pretty flat because he's going to get flattened anyway, so I wouldn't worry about fluffing him up. And there you have your embellishments. You've put your ribbon on and you've got some pearls. And down here you have another little guy. And this is going away too. So if you like teensy tiny little butterflies, on page 157 of the catalog, we have butterflies here. Butterfly gems, $6.50. I don't know if those are on sale. And even though it's in colors from 2000, the ones that are going away, the 2019 to 2021, even though those colors are going away, those greens and oranges and purples are something we can use with all of our other purples. So I think that works well. And that's what I have for you today, is a peekaboo card. So thank you. Thank you for being with me today, and come back again and see me again on Facebook Live or YouTube. And if you don't have a demonstrator, I'd be honored to be your demonstrator and help you to bring a pinch of creativity to spice up your crafting life. I can answer most of the questions. I've been here about 13 years, so I can help you. And if you need a catalog, please contact me, and I'll be sure and get you a catalog. All the people who ordered from me last year, of course, will get catalogs. And if you don't have your catalog, because I ordered it from Stampin' Up! To be shipped, and a lot of people with the last catalog, with our JJ Mini, said that their customers did not receive them, so we had to send them out again. So let me know if you have not received a catalog and you know you're one of my customers, you've bought it from me last year, we'll get you a catalog. Thank you. It's Karen Decker here in Castle Rock saying goodbye. Have a wonderful day.